Time to write a little more. I think it could have been the best, but I mean, it's certainly up there with, I guess some of our most lauded albums, if you like.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. But let's talk a little bit about Steven Wilson. How Steven Wilson will know what he can make it work better? You guys take a look at the catalog and then approach him, or the other way around? Who's driving what?
Steven is a friend, but also a fan. I mean, my brother Ray, who unfortunately passed away last month,
recently,
or 2 months ago. Yeah, in March. I'm sorry. Initially worked with Steven on different things because Ray did 5.1 mixes for albums, and they worked together. And Steven said, "I'd love to work with Gentle Giant, music." And this is about way back. We're talking about several years. And Ray said, "Okay, if you like, go ahead." So Steven approached us, and the first album he wanted to do, in fact, was In a Glass House. And I wished he was able to do that, but unfortunately, we did not have the multi-tracks. This is the only album that we don't have the multi-tracks on. For some reason, they've gone. So anyone listening to this podcast or whatever, if anyone knows where they are, please let us know. So he went into, and the first album he remixed for us was Octopus. That was several years ago. And then he remixed The Power and the Glory, and then remixed the Free Hand. And then he did an amalgam of his first 3 albums called A Three-Piece Suite, and now Interview. And in fact, he's also remixed The Missing Piece, which will come out at the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, Steven Wilson has unparalleled ability to remix all the stuff from different bands, and No Man and Porcupine Tree and Tour, and the guy's and maybe he doesn't sleep. I don't know.
No, he has the same work ethic that Gentle Giant had.
That's right. You work hard, man. That's the only way around, right?
Yeah.
If you want to make something happen, you need to, work at it. So that's the one. And I think in addition to the 22 remix, the original it will include the 1976 stereo mix, the original 1976 quad, and then obviously 5.1 is going to be in the packages. We'll have the CD and the Blu-ray version as well, plus a color vinyl album, which I'm looking forward to buying that as well, because I love your guys' stuff. And that is going to be released in June 16th, so next month, a month from now. So.
Yep, correct. So we're looking forward to people hearing it it's the same album, but it's a Steven Wilson remix, and it does sound it sounds a lot better because he's able to capture the space between the instruments probably better than we did back then. I mean, he has the capability and knowledge, and we always did things in a hurry, and usually they turned out pretty well, but not as good as what he is able to do. So we always let him do his thing, and there's not too many times where we said to Steven, no, that's right. He understands the band really well.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do. I mean, you need to know music and understand the band, and then take it to a next level. It's the level of technology at the time, 50 years ago, wasn't there like it is right now. But it's not just the technology. This guy is very good at what he does. That's very simple. Simple English. That's what it is. The guy.
He's the best.
Yeah. So hopefully I will have the opportunity to interview Steven Wilson one day, because I will have many questions for him as well, for all the other albums that he has worked with, and No Man and Porcupine Tree and so forth. After your career, you end up working became like a prominent record executive, right, for A&R?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I was A&R for Polygram, and then became president of Atco Records and Roadrunner Records, and I have a little, overseeing company now. Yeah, but I became Darth Vader. I joined the dark side.
The dark side, man. I know what you mean. That's a difficult. It's so many. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go there, but it's a very complicated. It's a complicated. This is,
it was interesting. Well, for me personally, because about 1975, 76, I and probably Ray to a certain degree took over the workings of the band, the management, and in some respects, we kind of learned the ropes doing it ourselves, which in retrospect was probably not a good idea, because you can only multitasking and trying to be creative at the same time and being business people is not a good idea for most people. But what it did was we were able to transition from the being in a band, if you like, to Ray becoming a well-known producer and me joining the corporate world, if you like, and understanding that groups and bands generally dislike record companies. They don't trust them. They don't trust the people. And I was able to have the musicians trust, because there's not something that a band could say to me that you don't know what it's like to be in a van, or you don't know what it's like to sleep on a floor or work, because I'd done everything, so I was able to put my experience as a musician and at the same time understanding what happened on the other side of the business, because I looked at everyone's office and realized on the very first day that, and this is going to sound again a little cynical, that literally when I joined Polygram, I realized it wasn't the music business; it was a business of music, and it really it kind of made my heart sink. And I said, I'm going to make that change. I'm going to help the musicians see as much as they can to help them become as big as they can.
Yeah, that I appreciate your honesty, and I assume that because you level up with the sky. Hey, I'm a musician. I know what it's like to be in a bus or finding a hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning and catching a bus, catching a flight in 3 hours from now, and be happy in the next 12 hours because we need to do another gig and so on and so forth, and then we do it over again, right? So, but I think that was important for them, because you're not just, as a record label executive, you were not just businessman trying to make money. You were that always. You need to run a company, but at the same time, you came from with a musician background, so you know what it was like,
I also, could listen to a song and say, why don't you try this chord, and why do you try this chord? And in fact, to be honest with you, just not many people know this, is I wrote or co-wrote several pretty well-known tracks from a couple of bands I signed. So, I didn't put my name on them, but said, let's try this, and then sit down with a musician, whether it was, Tom Kiefer or Men Without Hats or Pantera or whatever, and say, why don't you try this chord and see if this works? And not many people, I think, in the position I was in could do that.
Yeah, and I believe that you end up signing Bon Jovi, Dan Reed, and so big names, at the time, but it's still good names now, but back in the day, it was, people were coming up, They
blame me for Bon Jovi. I'm trying to be funny. John's a friend.
No, I know.
But nevertheless, I mean, it was a great time, and it was a completely different situation from what it was, before, when I was in a band, and it was a different chapter, and we all live by different chapters in our lives.
Yeah. Hypothetical question: if you have, I don't know, 20 bands, XYZ name, doesn't make a difference, the names, right? And you end up signing 1 or 2, let's say, out of the 30 or 40. What element contribute to say, well, these people are great. They will be do well in the life, we can, release them, make some money on them, promote them. And what element contribute for you to decide, well, I want to sign this band, but not the other one? What are key elements? Or
you mean as my role as the music executive? Well, there are two or three things. Number one, you have to have an incredible amount of drive and incredible amount of blinkers, so that nothing or no one will get in your way of your dream. If you're, that's one thing. Number two is, if you try to be like someone else, or someone who is trying to make the sound like someone else, that will never work. You have to be absolutely unique, in whatever way you have to be. I remember when I first saw Pantera, and they were playing a little club in Arlington, Texas, and I went down there. I left Polygram at the time. I was head of ADCO, and I went down to this club in Texas, and in 3 songs, and there was about 40 or 50 people in the venue. I became a fan, and I've been in the business a long time. But when I become a fan, and they blow me away, that's when I know they've got something unique. That if they blow me away, they're going to blow everyone else away as a live band. So they're completely unique in their way of presenting themselves. So someone who does something in their own right, don't try to be like someone else. Don't listen. Be unique, whatever it is, because if you're not unique, you're not going to make it. You could make a decent living, but you're not going to make it. Do something which is yours and not anyone else's. And so drive, being unique, and look, in this day and age, with AI and God knows what else, who knows what else there is, but those things for me, and try to play your instrument. Listen, I'm an old school here, but try to play your instrument and your vocal, whatever your instrument is, whether it's the vocals and or your personal instrument, as well as you can, and try to be great musicians as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those are, I suppose, they're key element for any band or any musician that want to make it into the world and make a living out of music. And when you were in 1998, when you became the president and CEO at Adco Record, you end up reestablishing the careers of bands like AC/DC, Bad Company, and so forth, which eventually they end up doing very, very well. So it's you know what you're doing. One thing is one accent, but the second time around it's wrong accent. You got on the third time around. You need to know what you're doing, right?
Well, either that or I'm full of shit. But but no, I kind of did, and I'm happy I was able to work with the bands that I really enjoyed and help them reestablish. I love AC/DC. I mean, they were they're great guys, and I love them for their incredible simplicity, but incredible complexity. They were one of the very few bands that their rhythm section was not in the bass and drums. It was Malcolm Young. That was a unique thing with this band, and that blew me away. As a musician, when I saw them play and rehearse, I realized that the rhythm section wasn't the bass and drums, which is generally a rhythm section of a band. Malcolm Young was the rhythm section. His rhythm guitar was the band.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just interesting to reflect back on things you mentioned, that AC/DC, Bad Company, et cetera, and going on from there. Slipknot and Nickelback, et cetera. But yeah, I've been involved in pretty big bands, but the interesting thing as something for me is that I guess more important than my post-band, I guess 40 years on the executive side. Now I reflect as an older man, which is what I am. Being a musician is the most important. My years as as in Simon Dupree, but probably more important, Gentle Giant, are the best years I ever had.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You were born a musician with your brothers, and you're always going to be a musician, whether you make money in the, as a record label, an executive, and promoting. Still behind you, there was a musician inside you. Listen to ACC or Bon Jovi. Hey, like you say, try this guitar. No, it's too loud or it's too long or whatever. You came from a musician background, so it makes a big difference. Some executives or some record labels just want to make money and they want to produce, whether they like or not like the music, or, they want to sell as many. Used to be CDs, vinyl, but it's people don't buy that many CDs or albums anymore. And what's your take on an XYZ band, right? They have new material, they want to record a new album, and it costs them, I don't know, $100,000 just to put a number. How they record that investment? Because they, the sales on CDs and Blu-ray and vinyl are going down. So they end up recording their investment, selling a lot of, T-shirts or, book program or something inside the gig to try to record that investment, right? How difficult it is.
Well, yes, it's difficult. I mean, of course it's difficult, especially in the popular or the rock and progressive and bands that they're supposed to play. There's a whole different thing about, which is a whole different musical taste, where hip hop is massive, which I enjoy right now a great deal, because I think they're probably the most progressive, some of the most interesting bands for me, or groups or musical entities are some of the informed hip hop artists. But getting back to your point here, it's like it was when I was first starting a group. What you used to do was get on the road and get and play and get good and get better and get more audience and come back to the same venue when you played to 100 people and maybe 200 people showed up and maybe 300. Then you're getting good. I think it's become like that again. Yeah, you have to do but to think that you're going to become a multi-millionaire from record sales and or whatever, no, that's never going to happen. But we never did it for the money. I mean, we wanted to be paid, and it was nice to put bread on the table and make sure we made a living. But to become millionaires, that was never our intention. As certainly in Gentle Giant, it was to make really great music and take it to the public, and hopefully they'd enjoy it and give us enough finances so we could, pay the mortgage on our houses and feed our families, and that was it.
Yeah,
nothing more.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the other hand, in my humble opinion, there are so many bands out there with millions of hits on Spotify, and the music is terrible. I mean, there's people like that different type of music. Everybody like Latin music or hip hop or metal music or electronic music or whatever. It's difficult. It's difficult to make a living as a musician. So.
Well, it is, but you know what? But look, again, it's the most important thing these days, which has come full circle, because when we were first starting at school, was let's put a band together, let's go out and play. It wasn't about let's become millionaires. Let's put a group together that sounds great and makes good music, and I think that's most important. Again, and if you're not good, you're not going to make it.
That's right. Yeah, if you're not good, you're not going to make it. That should be the line of a new album. you gotta put it. You need to copyright that the line, something somebody can use. So, but nowadays, I was checking out last night, and you have on Spotify, you have like 190,000 monthly listeners, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, for a band that released the last album 43 years ago or so, in 1980. So it's, no bad.
Still growing, which is, surprise to all of us.
Yeah. Looking back in your life as a record producer or as a musician, any regret, things you would have done differently? Hindsight, everybody looks good, right? Everybody could change the past, but in reality, all of us, we didn't, right? So, or were you happy with?
No, you know what? Regret is something you can never. I have no regrets. I've made mistakes, sure, but to regret those mistakes would be stupid. You learn by making mistakes, and
absolutely,
and you go to another place, and you say, well, I don't do that again. So no, every move that we made, whether it was musically in Gentle Giant, whether it was Simon Dupree, or personally or professionally and as an executive, look, there'll be times when there were incredible highs when you had the biggest record in the world, and there'd be lows when you thought there was a band that was going to be huge and you invested money and they became stiffs, or you invested in people that you thought personally that were friends and they turned out not to be. But you can't regret that. You just got to move on and enjoy life because it's short. And I'm still just I'll say this here right now because this is the first interview I've done since my younger brother Ray passed away, and life is short and make the best of it because just be good, make great music, and no, I don't regret anything, and I don't think Ray ever did, and I don't either, because life is, you're going to make mistakes, but don't regret them, just learn from them.
Absolutely. No, your brother, your whole family was great musician. Your parents did a good job raising you guys, man.
There was a lot of love in our family. That was a good thing.
Yeah. For me, it was the same. I have a great family, a great upbringing. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have the appreciation of music and the hundred of shows that I have seen, and they keep on buying music. And my wife complained, but that's okay. And my son is going to be the same. Going to with my little guy to shows, and he likes some stuff, he doesn't like some stuff, but that's his life. I bring music into his life. I'm not bringing any genre. He like this or that or that. That's his life. That's nobody. There's some music I don't like. It's some music that I love it, and but people need to do what they make it happy. What kind of music do you listen nowadays when you are at home, or you're still involved in the music business? They call you.
I still have a company that oversees various little things. I'm not in the trenches per se, but what do I listen to? I wish I could say I listen to a lot, but I don't listen to a lot. I go back to the sort of probably the earlier. I love the earlier 50s and 60s stuff. I mean, I love the old jazz music of what my father loved. The Shorty Rogers, the Stan Getz, the John Coltrane era. Yeah. I love Frank Zappa. I mean, if you want one of my biggest influences, but at the same time, I do, and I have become involved actually in some of the interesting world of hip hop, and I think a lot of the hip hop people that people don't know about have incredible interesting musicality taste that you wouldn't know, and they're very much more plugged into bands like it who are in our world, the prog music world, because they listen to these little quirky riffs and they make something of them. And I think that is very creative, actually, in the way they do that. They're probably one of the most creative. Someone like Mad Villain, or even there's a band called Run the Jewels who took our song from Octopus, Knots, and made it into a track called I can't remember what it was, but it became one of the lead songs on Black Panther. And they're a very popular hip hop band. A guy called Killer Mike, and I went to see them, and they played Madison Square Gardens, and they loved the group. So it's interesting that there's a big, from what we're told, we have a ghetto pass. Gentle Giant has a ghetto pass, which means that that world has embraced our group and loves what some of them do, which I'm very happy about.
That's great, man. Feel free. I have only 2 more questions. Feel free to elaborate your record label, or whether a website where people can buy, Gentle Giant record. I don't know if you guys have a website or your website, man. Feel free to mention that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, gentlegiantband.com and we have merch. I mean, the good thing is that we have the catalog. The group owns the catalog here in North America, so we're able to help, and have our music out there. So, on the 26th, the 18th of June, the new Stephen Wilson remix is going to be out there, and
absolutely
pre-order. I'm hawking the album here. So we have websites and Instagram and all that stuff. In fact, my son Noah is very much interested. I mean, again, in my family, my son is very much involved in helping. Having the presence of the band being visible on the socials. Both my kids are very much in the creative world too.
Well, that's great, man. Very happy for you. Derek, it was very nice talking to you, and I hope to meet you face to face one day. And if you are in town again, let me know. You're free to welcome to. You'll have the best meal of your life here.
My pleasure. I look forward to it.
For you to sign and the remixes and the autograph, and we can have a beer, one or two, man.
Absolutely. Okay.
It was very nice talking to you. Good luck to you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye, Derek.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Derek.